Deep in the jungles of Thailand, scientists have discovered a new species of fungus that can turn ants into zombies. This isn't fiction or a scene from a horror movie, but a terrifying reality. In fact, this zombifying fungus has already infected over 20 different species of ants across 3 continents. So how exactly does this fungus turn ants into zombies? And why would it want to do such a thing? Join us as we explore the horrifying truth behind the zombie ants. It all starts with an unassuming bite. When an infected ant bites another healthy ant, it passes on the zombifying fungus. The spores then enter the bloodstream and set up shop in immediately some parts of the brain. Spores even travel to the antennae, which is how they communicate with other ants. As the spores take over the nervous system, they begin to manipulate the ant's behavior. Since the spores are so tiny, it takes time for the infection to be noticed. At first, the ants seem normal, but under the control of the fungus, they start to act strangely. The zombifying fungus gradually takes over the entire colony. Since ants live in colonies with others of their own kind, it's easy for the fungus to spread. But why would a fungus want to control the minds of its insect victims? Well, there are many benefits to turning an ant into a zombie. The fungus can use the dead ants to spread its spores and infect more ants. It also gets access to the dead ants' food stores and can even use them as a new fruiting body to grow more fungus. But how does it actually control the minds of these poor insects? Well, it all comes down to chemicals. When the spores enter an ant's body, they release chemicals that hijack the nervous system. These chemicals mimic the ant's own neurotransmitters, which are chemicals that allow nerves to communicate with each other. By mimicking these chemicals, the spores can trick the ant into thinking everything is normal. For example, when the fungus takes over an ant's brain, it can make the ant think that it's just a normal day in the colony. The fungus might even trick the ant into thinking that it's the colony's leader and needs to take care of everyone else. This allows the fungus to take over the colony without the ants noticing anything wrong. Once it has control over the colony, the fungus can start manipulating the ants to do its bidding. For example, when the fungus takes over an ant's brain, it can make the ant think that it's just a normal day in the colony. The fungus might even trick the ant into thinking that it's the colony's leader and needs to take care of everyone else. This allows the fungus to take over the colony without the ants noticing anything wrong. Once it has control over the colony, the fungus can start manipulating the ants to do its bidding. This is how the zombie ant was born. As the fungus slowly takes over the ant's mind, it starts to influence the ant's behavior. The fungus can make the ant bite its fellow colony members, killing them and turning them into more zombies. Once the ant has bitten enough of its fellow colony members, the fungus takes over completely and turns the ant into what is known as a fruiting body. The spores then come out of the dead ant's body and infect more ants, starting the process all over again. But this zombifying fungus doesn't just infect ants. In fact, it has been found to infect over 20 different species of ants across 3 continents. These include carpenter ants, leafcutter ants, and army ants. But that's not all. The fungus has also been found to infect termites, cockroaches, and even beetles. But wait, there's more. This zombifying fungus is not just a recent discovery. In fact, it has been around for centuries. It was first described by the Swiss naturalist Charles Bonnet in 1745. He named it Ophiocordyceps unilateralis, which means snakehead. The fungus gets its name from the way that the spores emerge from the dead ant's body, which looks like a snake's head. But despite being known for centuries, the zombifying fungus is still a mystery to scientists. They don't know how it actually controls the minds of its insect victims. They also don't know why it only infects certain species of ants and not others. But one thing is for sure, this fungus is one of the most terrifying in the world. The zombifying fungus is a reminder of the power of nature. Even the smallest of creatures can be deadly. And sometimes the things that scare us the most are the things we know the least about. But it's not all bad news. Thanks to the efforts of scientists, we are learning more about the zombifying fungus every day. We may never be able to stop it, but at least we will be prepared. If you're a fan of scary stories, stay tuned for more. We tell the most terrifying tales from around the world, so if you dare, join us on our journey into the unknown. You never know what we might find next. But for now, let's move on to our next terrifying topic. What happens when humans get bit by ticks? Ticks are small arachnids that live in grassy or wooded areas. They feed on the blood of mammals, birds, and reptiles. And although most tick bites are harmless, some can cause serious illness. One of the most common diseases transmitted by ticks is Lyme disease. Lyme disease is a bacterial infection that can cause a range of symptoms, including fever, headache, and a bullseye-shaped rash. If left untreated, Lyme disease can cause serious complications such as arthritis, heart problems, and neurological disorders. Another disease that can be transmitted by ticks is Rocky Mountain spotted fever. This is a bacterial infection that causes a high fever, headache, and a rash. If left untreated, Rocky Mountain spotted fever can cause vascular damage, paralysis, and even death. Ticks can also transmit a number of viral diseases, including alpha-gal syndrome, heartland virus disease, and Powassan virus disease. Alpha-gal syndrome is an allergic reaction to a sugar found in red meat. This can cause symptoms such as hives, swelling, and difficulty breathing. Heartland virus disease is a viral infection that causes fever, headache, and gastrointestinal symptoms. Powassan virus disease is a rare but serious infection that can cause encephalitis, meningitis, or acute flaccid paralysis. Although tick bites can be dangerous, there are steps that can be taken to prevent disease. These include wearing long clothing when in grassy or wooded areas, using insect repellent, and checking for ticks after spending time outdoors. If you do find a tick on your body, it's important to remove it as soon as possible. This can be done using tweezers by grasping the tick as close to the skin as possible and pulling upward with steady, even pressure. It's also important to seek medical attention if you develop any symptoms of a tick-borne disease. Early diagnosis and treatment can help prevent serious complications. Thanks for watching. Do you know of any other scary things that happen in nature? Let us know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, be sure to stay tuned for more. We tell the most terrifying tales from around the world, so if you dare, join us on our journey into the unknown. You never know what we might find next.